I am going to go ahead and share my screen and then Richard can go ahead and get started.
All right. Thank you, Mary. I'll just start with who I am. My name's Richard Hinsliff. Probably tell from my accent that I'm English, but I've lived in New York for about 20 years or so. As consequences of marrying an American, I suppose. I'm the vice president of global sales for Aura Digital Frames. We've been working with the photo managers for a little under a year now. There's an obvious logic in terms of what the members of the photo managers do in terms of helping people to restore their memories and share them and preserve them. And I'm going to try and keep this as broad as I can. I really just want to give you guys information. There is a sort of a I can't help myself. I've got to talk about Aura in the middle and how awesome we are. So you might have to bear with me during that period. I just can't help myself as a sales guy. I've got to do that. But I wanted to really just kind of bring you up to speed on what a digital photo frame is, where it's come from, and hopefully give you guys an idea of how it might help you in the things that you're trying to do. So, Mary, if you could click on. I might be very much preaching to the choir here, but we live in a photo obsessed world. I pulled this off Google on something I found, and I just thought the numbers on this were insane. Human beings are currently taking about 2.1 trillion photographs a year, which is just an insane number of photographs, which also boils down to about 5 billion photographs a day or 61,000 a second. In other words, we are taking a lot of photos. And obviously, the answer to that is phones. I mean, that's really what truly has changed. I think human beings have, since photography was invented in the 19th century, we've all loved photography, but having a phone in our pocket and with the quality of the photography that phones do now has kind of just changed all of that. And smartphones now account for about 94% of all photographs taken. That's what people do it. There's people like yourselves who are specialists and understand the value of traditional cameras and the qualities they can bring, but for the average person in the world, smartphones is where it's at. There's 136 billion images available on Google if you choose to search it, and 14 billion shared daily on social media. In other words, we live in a world where photos are the currency of the age that we live in, and that everybody lives in a place where they take photographs. And so, Mary, if you click on. Digital photo frames, for those of you who've been around a while, might know they sort of first came into being around the year 2000. The idea is not rocket science. We all got a house, including me, full of photo frames with pictures in them of families and locations and friends and all the rest of it. And the ability to display digital photos directly from a camera onto a screen and have them change is not some kind of brilliant revolutionary idea. In fact, it's borderline obvious. And they first came into being around about 2000 when the technology first allowed that to happen. And the problem with them was that they just weren't very good, particularly in hindsight. They had no internet connectivity. There was no such thing as Wi-Fi back then, which meant that you had to upload any photos on a USB stick or directly from a cord, which I don't think anybody mind doing the first time they bought the frame, but is a bit of a pain in the rear on an ongoing basis in terms of doing that ongoing and keeping it up to date. Honestly, the image quality on those frames was pretty poor. The pixel count was very low. The photos often being uploaded weren't very good quality either, as they'd gone through a USB stick, and it was just miserable. And so what the category saw was that everybody bought into the idea. Everybody went, "Oh yeah, that's an awesome idea," and the category took off. They actually sold over $1 billion worth of digital photo frames in 2009, which is about a 15% household penetration in America, meaning about 1 in 6 people in America owned a digital photo frame. But then the experience just sucked. The experience didn't live up to the idea that people had in their heads of what digital photo frames could be. And the category fell away very quickly as people's experience of using the frames just didn't live up to it. You had to keep plugging in the USB, which nobody bothered doing. So you had the same few photos going round and round. The quality wasn't very good, and they just looked clunky and horrible. That picture on the right is particularly like literally the worst frame I could find on Google search. But they just didn't look very good. They looked horrible on your mantelpiece, your coffee table, or wherever you chose to put them. And so the category fell away dramatically, and by 2010 had kind of ceased to exist. Mary, if you click on. But the idea remained there. The idea of having a digital photo frame still made a ton of sense to the average human being, and it was really just a question of waiting for the tech to catch up to the idea. And that's kind of what's happened. The second generation of digital photo frames really started about 2016, maybe really got going 2 or 3 years after that. And the single difference is that the tech is just way better than it used to be. First of all, it is Wi-Fi enabled, which means, you can have the frame sat on your coffee table or on a cabinet somewhere, and you can essentially just upload pictures to it directly from your phone, because it's connected by Wi-Fi. Your phone's connected to Wi-Fi, obviously, and so is your frame, and that makes it, yeah. I'll collect the questions at the end, but I'll talk to them as we go along. We are connected to the cloud storage. That's where our pictures are stored. So they're not actually stored on the frame. They actually keep some of the pictures on a frame. We're reaching the limits of my technical knowledge, but the majority of the frames are stored in iCloud. Aura actually offers that service entirely free. In theory, if you want to upload 1 million photos, you can upload 1 million photos. We won't charge you a cent for that. Some of the other frames out there, that might be a little cheaper in the front end, charge you a subscription fee for keeping photos in the cloud, particularly above a certain level. Um, but the other thing that's great, other than the Wi-Fi, of course, is the ubiquity of cell phones. Everybody has 1 million photos on their phones. They're really easy to upload, and so that's essentially how it works now. You have an app on your phone, the Aura app. I simply can go into the app and I can just upload pictures from my photo gallery on my phone directly into the app, and then it immediately appears essentially instantaneously on the frame. And you don't need to be there. In the old days of a USB stick or a cord, you needed to be stood right next to the frame. The user case that's perfect for this is my mom still lives in England. She's 80 years old. She doesn't see her grandchildren very much for fairly obvious geographical reasons. I upload pictures all the time to her frame. So, first day of school, we were just talking about it. I guarantee you on the day after Labor Day, my kids will be stood outside school. I'll take pictures of them. And we upload the pictures immediately to my mother's frame, and 10 minutes later, she's looking at them in a house in England. And so that's the incredible usability of this. And then the other thing that's changed enormously, I know there was a couple of questions, I missed them before they went off the screen, so we'll circle back and I'll answer them all at the end. Is that the frames themselves are just much better quality. The frames themselves are designed now. The way that our design team at Aura in particular think about frames is that they've got to earn the right to be on your coffee table or on your dresser or wherever you want to put them, right? You've got a lovely front room decorated with expensive furniture and nice pieces of, lamps and everything else that you've got and accessories. You can't have a clunky piece of crappy plastic sat in there because it just doesn't earn the right to be there. So our frames are designed to look as much as possible like traditional frames. They're made from good quality materials. And they're designed, as you can see in the picture, to look worthy of being on your coffee table. And then obviously the other thing that's improved is the quality of the pictures. The images themselves, both the quality of the photos that phones take now is much higher pixels, much better quality, and the frame themselves operate on a much higher pixel level, which means that the quality of the image that's shown on the frame is an incredible quality now. And so we're in a different world. The second generation of digital photo frames, they deliver on the original idea and the original thought behind how you would want to do the frames, and thus the category is taking off once again. If you click on Mary, this is the category in the United States of America, and this is some data from a company called Sakana, who track sales of most categories for those of you that work in similar industries to what I do. And essentially, the category was bouncing along at sort of a couple of million frames a year in 2022, and in the last couple of years has really started to accelerate rapidly. 35% growth last year on top of 44% of growth the year before. And there was nearly 5 million digital picture frames sold in the United States of America last year. So we're seeing really rapid growth in the category. A lot of them are sold online. You can buy them on Amazon, obviously our own website, auraframes.com, but also increasingly you can buy them at retailers. We have a frame going into Costco in this Q4, which is extremely good value. We're available in Best Buy and a number of other chains that you'd figure of where you can find the product, and sales are growing really rapidly right now. Clicking on Mary. And I think ultimately, in terms of the reason why digital frames are selling so well at the moment, is they just make sense in everybody's lives. They keep your photo memories alive and present. This is what we hear from people most time. I think most people on here are probably in group family chats. I know that I'm in about 4 different ones, and we all post pictures to them all the time. But the thing about it is, they're instant and then they're instantly forgotten, right? You see a picture of the kids or your nephews and nieces or cousins or whoever it is doing something cool. You look at it and you go, oh, that's cool. And then it's gone. 10 seconds later, you never look at it again. And the great thing about a digital frame is that it keeps the memories alive and present. They're there. It's what my mom says all the time. She goes, I see these lovely photos in the group chat and then I forget about them. But when they're on my frame, they're there forever and they keep coming around and surprising me. Like I said, the bespoke designs and the expert craftsmanship and material that goes into making the frames mean that people feel really comfortable putting them on a coffee table, on a dresser, wherever makes sense in their house. And they feel really comfortable having them as not just as a digital photo frame, but actually as an ornament that anybody would have in their house. They're incredibly and easy and convenient to add pictures and keep the frames up to date. I just came back off vacation, and pretty much the first thing I did when I got back was put all the pictures onto our frame here in the house and the one that my mother has in England and just upload them. And it takes 10 seconds. It's the easiest thing in the world. From our perspective, one of the things that Aura does is that we don't just do photos from phone. You can actually scan through your phone. If you scan an old picture or even a document that isn't a picture at all and upload it into your photo gallery, you can then upload it onto the frame too. My mother-in-law is American, and she's fourth or fifth generation Italian American, and she's very proud of her family heritage and, coming over on the boat through Ellis Island. And she actually uses hers as kind of like a curation of old family photos that she uploads them. And they're obviously all photos taken way before digital cameras were invented, but she scans them all in on her phone and uploads them. And it's just a sea of old pictures of well-dressed Italian Americans posing around the Empire State, the Statue of Liberty, and various other things, which is really cool. And she uses hers that way, similar to I imagine many that you do. And then one of the more interesting things is that effectively what a digital photo frame is that it's a secure and private closed loop social media network, right? It's not like posting your pictures on Facebook where everybody can see them and everybody can get in there and you're worried that your data is going to get stolen. None of that stuff, right? This is secure and private. Literally, the only people who can see the pictures on the frame are the people who are either stood in front of the frame themselves or who you invite to add pictures to the frame. And you can invite as many people as you like. And so what you find is it almost becomes a kind of closed loop social media network for friends and family. And that's how a lot of people use it. And people can feel free about posting pictures of their kids and their grandkids and all the rest of it, knowing that they're not unleashing them out into the internet and into the world. And then, like I said, this is kind of Aura specific, but there's no subscription, there's no hidden fees. You buy the frame in a store and that's it. Everything from there on is free. The app is free. Storage is free. As I said, if you wish to upload 1 million photos, you might make the company go bust. Now, I'm going to think about it, but we certainly won't charge you a penny for it. It's free for unlimited storage. And it does also include videos. It'll take up to 30-second videos on the frame. All right. Clicking on Mary. All right, I'm going to talk about Aura a little bit. So go make yourself a cup of coffee or something while I rave about my company's product. Clicking on again, Mary. Aura is now the #1 brand in the category. The company was founded in about 2017, 2018, launched in the market in the US in 2019, and this is the total market share. We're now over 40% share, 41% share in 2024, which we're enormously proud of. Or is probably a more premium frame. Our frame starts selling at $149. If you go on Amazon, you can find Chinese imported frames that are about $49 and $50. And I would tell you honestly, they work. You know, the bare bones of having an app and uploading pictures, they do that. The frames themselves are not very good quality. They don't look very good. They don't earn the spot on your mantelpiece, as I said. And the quality of the images and the ease and usability of the app is it's all a bit crap, to be perfectly honest with you. Or has kind of captured the market by having a simple goal of being the best digital picture frame available in America, and the consumers have responded to that, and we're now over 40% share. Click on Mary. And our success is really based on the fact that people absolutely love their frames. Obviously, because of the app, we can sort of track people's usage. It's not like a toaster or something when someone buys it and you've no idea if they ever use it again. For those of you who are in the retail business, there's a thing called an NPS score, which is a net promoter score, which basically says when you ask people, do you like your product? A net promoter is someone who scores 8 or above out of 10. Essentially, the people who genuinely love your product. And Aura's net promoter score is 70.7, which is, as someone who's been selling stuff for a long time, is absolutely off the charts good. The average NPS score for a consumer electronics item, you know, a TV or a sound, you know, anything that's electronics is about 52. And I've worked in categories where the number's even lower than that. So Aura's numbers are off the charts. One of our favorite facts is that 40% of the people who buy a frame buy a second frame within 12 months. And some people do currently carry more than one frame in their house. I do, but most people buy the second frame as a gift for someone else. People gift it onwards. That tends to how it works. 95% of the frames that people have actively add new content on a monthly basis. Again, that speaks to the simplicity of uploading pictures and the engagement. It stays alive. We have extremely good ratings on Amazon. 88% of our reviews on Amazon are 5 stars. And for those of you that work in similar industries, return rate on Amazon, the average return rate for consumer electronics is about 21%. That's every reason, right? Decided I couldn't afford it, decided I didn't want it, it was the wrong color, it was the wrong size, it was broken, you name the reason. About 21% of products get returned on Amazon in consumer electronics, or as return rates 4, which is incredibly low in the category and just speaks to the fact that people love their frames. Clicking on Mary. And this is a little fun fact. Obviously, as I said, people often give our frames as gifts, and a lot of them are around Christmas time. We sell probably about 60% of our frames in sort of the last 6 to 8 weeks of the year as gifts at Christmas. And on Christmas Day last year, in the Apple Store, Aura Frames app was the #3 downloaded app in the entire Apple Store in the United States of America, which obviously speaks to all those people getting an Aura frame for Christmas, downloading the app, forwarding it to their friends, downloaded the app too. And yeah, we were the #3 app. So we were very excited about that. Mary, do you click on? And we are the only digital picture frame that is recommended by the New York Times is Wirecutter. I think increasingly I trust Wirecutter for everything. They don't accept bribes. There's no product placement. You can't persuade them. You simply send them your product and they review it, and they tell the readers of the New York Times which they think is the best product. And they recommend 3 digital photo frames, and all 3 of them are ours. They don't recommend anybody else's frames. We've also got tons of approvals and, you know, over 50 top pick awards in 2024. We've been on Oprah's favorite things 3 times. We repeatedly are picked up by like New York Magazine and Wired and The Strategist. So our frames are absolutely beloved, and that's why our business has been successful. Click on Mary. All right, just our range to click on again, Mary. We currently offer 4 frames. Our base model is what we call the Carver on the left-hand side at $149, and then up to the Aspen and the Walden. The Alden's at $299. The single biggest difference between them is the size of the display. The first 2, the Carver and the Carver Matte, are a 10-inch diagonal across. The Aspen is 12 and the Walden is 15, but there are things that come with the better ones. So for example, you can see in the frame, the original Carver has a sort of a one color, one dimension frame, whereas the Carver matte has the inlay piece, the matte piece, which kind of looks more like a traditional photo frame. The Aspen and the Walden both are dual orientation, which means you can put them landscape or portrait and the photographs automatically reformat. And they also have higher resolution levels. So that's our product. It's pretty simple. We do a dark and a light color of each of the four frames. It's a pretty simple range, and we still sell more Carver and Carver matte than we do of anything else, but we launched the Aspen about 3 or 4 months ago, and sales have wildly exceeded expectation, and we're really excited by the number of people who buy that. Next up, Mary. Software innovation. One of the great things about our frames is that because they're run through an app, you don't necessarily have to, it's not like a TV where if you get a new piece of innovation, you got to go buy a new TV. We can put a lot of the innovation that we do for our frames through the app, which means that everybody who bought an Aura frame, regardless of when, can take advantage of the software innovation. So just as a touch base, some of the stuff that we've got going on this year that hopefully will help you in what you guys are looking to do. If you click on Mary, first of all, we have people search. Everyone has a gazillion photos in their photo gallery on their phone. With this new feature, it will filter the phone for faces through, kind of AI search technology and find particular people. So you want to, my mother-in-law actually has two different frames for two different sides of her family, and so she wants to put kids, and she was sort of saying to me, "Oh, I need more kids of Christian, who's one of her grandkids on the other side." And so she literally filtered through and found Christian, and then just uploaded a bunch of pictures of the kids, which obviously is great. Clicking on Mary. We've added text captions to photos and videos, and I think in this audience that really might be useful. The example here is just a reference to where the picture was taken, but you can also use it to document, in the way that people used to write on the back of old photos, who was in the picture and where it was taken and their age, great Uncle Ebenezer was 87 and this picture was taken in 1923. You can add that caption onto the frame so that it appears on the frame when people look at it, which is really useful when people are sending in frames. The way that I've used it with my mom is every year she gets photos on the kids' first day of school or their birthday or whatever, and you can literally put, Ella's 15th birthday photo taken at X. And so that's become a really useful thing that we've rolled out this year, that you can add text captions to the pictures and the videos. Clicking on. And then related to that, we're actually adding voice. The frames do have a speaker in them. You can choose to mute it if you don't wish to hear it talking to you all day long. I think that might slightly drive you insane. But if you want to kind of hear in someone's voice, hey, this picture was taken at wherever, it was such and such's wedding, and we had a beautiful time or whatever, then you can do that, and you can add the original voice of the person talking who took the picture, who's in the picture, which is a lovely addition. Clicking on Mary. And then we have a gifting setup. So obviously I said somewhere like 60 or 70% of our frames are given as gifts to other people. And without getting too technical, there's a little QR code under the flap on the front, which means that you can actually upload pictures to the frame before you send it to the person. So when the person gets it fully wrapped, cellophane, unboxes it on Christmas morning, and they turn it on, and there's already a few pictures on there that you've chosen to put on. You don't have ongoing access to the frame. There's no security risk from that point of view, but it makes the unboxing experience for someone, particularly someone who might be maybe older and is a little frightened of the technology of uploading the pictures, that gets them off to a great start. And people do that all the time with us. Next one. And then just to really summarize and circle back, you guys know, I think that the product itself is obvious enough that I'm sure you can all see the value of how a digital photo frame can help you what you do. The reason we hear back from our consumers all the time about why they love the frames is that it keeps beloved photos present in people's everyday lives. They see it there. My mom can actually tell you how long it takes to go through the entire, I think she has like 280 photos, and she said it takes 6 hours to go through. And she said, and sometimes she just kind of sits there in her little drawing room and she has it on in the background while she's drinking a cup of coffee or whatever. And she says she just stares at it and watches it. It's a beautiful frame that people want to display in their living rooms, that it truly earns the space to be there. It is truly an ornament on its own right. It's not just photos. You can scan physical pictures and documents, so you can use it as a repository for whatever you want. And it's incredibly easy to set up. My mother was intimidated as hell when I first brought it, but she kind of now she uses the app all the time and she messes with photos. And I tell everyone if my 80-year-old mother can do it, anybody can do it. And so you don't need to be tech savvy. So that's the digital photo frames. I've saw a bunch of questions going through. I didn't catch half of them, but that was really kind of all I want to add. Mary, if there is one more slide. We have a website, auraframes.com, if you want to go and learn more about the products and see more videos and photos of the brand. And if you have any questions you want to ask me about, you can feel free to email me. Absolutely no problem. I'm always happy to talk to potential customers or existing customers. So without further ado, Mary, do you want to just kind of open it up to the questions?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. That was some great information. Let me just go through and see which questions we have. Um, we have quite a few questions here. I'm trying to get back through all of them. Just give me one moment. It looks like someone's asking about cloud storage, and I know you said that
Yeah, I
it's
think I answered that one. If whoever posted that, if I didn't, feel free to speak up again and I'll take another run at it. But yes, we store all the photos in the cloud. It's a free service. There's no subscription fees. It's entirely private and managed. No one else can get access to it. We can't get access to it. I can't. I have no way of knowing what photos you've put on your frame. I can't do that, and neither can anyone else at all.
another question that we had was, can you upload photos from SmugMug or NAS?
You're reaching the limits of my media savviness, but you can upload pictures from lots of different places. Like I know people can do it from laptops and various other systems. I guess without wishing to dodge the question, if you can look on our website, we can give you some more details of that. But I would say that 99% of the photos are uploaded from phones. That's where most people do it.
And you can upload
Bulk load.
them.
You can bulk upload as well from laptops, So if you've got 300 photos in your library and you don't want to upload them all individually, then you can bulk upload them into the app from your laptop.
Another question was is there a specific aspect ratio that the photos need to be to show properly?
No, what it does is it adjusts it. So the frames are set to what is a typical photo taken on a phone. So if you take a normal landscape picture on a phone, it uploads perfectly. But then what you can do is you can adjust the picture, right? So if it's an old photo that's a slightly odd aspect ratio or it's bigger or whatever, you have two options. It's a bit like watching old movies on TV. You can either shrink it down to a letterbox size so that the whole picture appears on the frame with sort of a couple of black stripes, or you can choose to kind of zoom in on the picture and make it fit however you wish. So in individual pictures, you upload them, it does its best, the technology to figure out how you would like it to look, and then what you can do is go in and adjust it to make it how you want it to be. And there is also a setting in where two portrait pictures on a landscape, it actually puts them alongside each other on the frame. So you can see two pictures next to each other and kind of fill the entire piece.
Another question was, are you able to create separate playlists?
Um, No, it's a bit more complicated than no. You can't simply coordinate a small batch and have that repeat. It will run all the pieces, but you can curate, like for example, the order they come upon, so you can see them together, or you can obviously potentially hide pictures or delete pictures that you don't want anymore, you don't want to show at a current run, but you can't actually curate a short period playlist. Watch this space. We are working on it. It's one of the things we get asked for a lot, actually, and it is one of the things that we're going to drop onto the software at some point fairly soon.
And so that leads into another question that was asked where they could find creative examples of storytelling within the frame. So that's something that you're working on.
Sorry, say that again.
They were asking where you can find creative examples of storytelling for
Um,
other users.
like I said, for security reasons, I don't have access to anything that anybody puts on any of the frames. It's entirely private, so I don't. I'm sure there are wonderful versions of for example, people use our frames at weddings quite a lot, and have everybody, they put a frame. You remember the old days when people used to have those digital, those throwaway cameras that they used to put on every table and people take lots of pictures of the wedding. We actually, a lot of people use it in baby showers too, where they'll put the frame at the front of the room and everybody uploads pictures as the day goes on, so that then the bride and groom gets to take home the frame at the end of the day with a wonderful memory of their special day and all the rest of it. But like I said, we don't. The frames are entirely private, so I don't have access to how anybody's used the frame in terms of creative storytelling. Guess that's all down to you.
And how are the frames powered?
They're plugged in. So they are plugged into the wall, which means obviously you need to be near the wall. The Walden frame, which is our current most expensive, you can mount on the wall. There's a thing in the back that allows you to hook it. But a bit like your TV, it does have the cord coming down. You can put it through the wall, obviously, but also you need to be able to plug it in. Now one of the things we've been asked for by our customers is for a frame that is battery powered. It's not as simple as all of that because the battery needs to remain charged for a period of time. You can't have a battery that has to be recharged once a week. That's silly. So we are actually in a couple of months going to be launching a frame called the Ink, which will be battery powered. There are some other things about it that are slightly different in terms of the way it's pixelated and in terms of some of the functionality it has. Details to come on our website in a couple of months, but that will be battery powered and you will be able to put that on the wall or indeed anywhere without needing to plug it in.
Another question we had was, in the future, if you move into a subscription model, will the frames purchased honor those accounts?
We have zero plans to move into subscription. I couldn't sit here and tell you never say never because that's not within my power, but the owners of the company have been extremely forthright in saying that they don't believe that they will ever add a subscription service. So, yeah, there's not even any conversation about whether that would happen. So who knows?
Are there any plans to add a permissions tier to invite someone to the frame just to add photos
Oh
only?
yeah, yeah, that's exactly what you do. So when you download the app, it literally says who else do you want to allow to add pictures, and you just text them an invite, and it does it. It's so easy. It sends a text message to that person. That person clicks on it, and it downloads the app for them and also grants them permission. So my mother's friend that I talk about all the time, I've got three brothers and sisters that live in England. They all have access to the frame. Now she's invited her grandkids and a couple of other aunts, and there's a whole bunch of people that upload pictures. And because we're in the app, we can see all the other pictures that other people are adding to the frame. And obviously, you can choose to take them away again, should you wish to. But it's entirely within your control. You can invite as many or as a few people as you wish.
I think that's one other question that I just saw was can you hang the Aura Aspen on the wall like a photo frame?
That's what I say. You can ask the Walden can be hung on the frame. I mean, I guess if you're good at DIY, you can probably hang the Aspen frame, but it's not purpose built with anything that allows you to put it on the wall. The Walden is. The Walden has a thing in the back that allows you to hang it on a nail, sort of thing.
And how does it work when you're removing photos from the frame?
It's dead easy. You can do them individually, literally. And if you go in the photo, there's a thing that just says remove, and you just click it and it removes it. We actually have a reverse people search, which we internally refer to as the divorce app, which we probably shouldn't, where you can essentially search for someone's face and remove all the pictures with that person's face in it. So you can do that too. I have one of my sisters. I love her very dearly, but she's very aggressive on the posting. She'll post like 25 pictures on my mom's frame, all of the same birthday party. And my mom will call me up and she'll go, "Can you help me take some of these off? Because I don't need 25 pictures of this birthday party." So there's a lot of that going on in our family. It's very passive aggressive, I think. I think
We have one other question about permission tiers again. Uh, they've found that it sounds like you could control how many people you invite.
Yes.
your
Yeah.
frame?
Well, not just control it. Unless you invite someone, they can't access your frame. Full stop. End of story. So, you get the frame and you choose who you invite, and only people you invite can see the pictures and can upload pictures. And you can uninvite them if the situation changes. Then nobody, including everyone who works at Aura, has any access to the frame at all.
I think the concern was that they had full control over the frame.
They do.
They were able to delete photos.
Yes.
Is there
I
like,
that too.
is there any intention of creating more permission-based control for users?
I'm not sure what that means by permission because you only people can access the frame if you invite them, and people can add all the photos they wish. You can delete the ones that you don't like or you don't want to see. You have 100% control over everything that's seen on the frame and who has access to it.
Yeah, I think they just were looking to maybe restrict certain actions with certain users, like
Okay.
not allow them to delete or edit pictures.
Okay. Yes, I think you can stop people deleting them. Edit, I'm not sure. I think you can go into the app and stop certain people deleting pictures if you wish. Not 100% sure about that, but I think that's correct.
Thank you so much. I know there was a few other questions.
Yeah, keep going. I'm
Can I ask a question?
sure, Joy, fire
This is
away.
Joy. Hey, I have two of your frames and I love
Nice.
them. And
Awesome.
I'm getting ready to deploy one this weekend to a client.
Okay.
So my question is along the permissions, and I just want to make sure I'm making myself clear, which is why I didn't type it into
Okay.
the thing. So I have the two frames that I have invited my husband. He
Uh-huh.
can add photos.
Yeah.
I cannot delete the photos he added. Is that a true statement?
No, 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 you definitely can. Yeah, you can delete anything you
So
like.
I need to find that.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you go into the bit that the thing that shows all the pictures that are on the frame, if you click on an individual picture, and I think you have to actually click it out twice. So like it clicks once and it goes, and it clicks once, and there's some little boxes come up underneath it that give you options of
Okay.
things to do, like rotate the picture or edit it. And one of them says something like remove. I can't remember the exact word, but it's basically remove, and it's got like a little green dot. You just click on that, and
Mhm.
it's gone.
Okay. So do I also understand correctly, there's an option for someone to create an account through Aura, me send them the email address for my frame,
Oh, you don't even have to do that.
and
It's even
it,
simpler. You can, if you go in, I don't like off the top of my head know exactly where it is, but if you look in your app and it says something like add other users, or I'm messing up the terminology, but it was something like that. And
yeah.
literally, you just click on it. It'll ask you for their text number or their email address, and you just
Mhm.
send it to them, and it sends them a link that they just click on it, and it will download the app for them and set them up with the ability to add frames. It couldn't be easier.
But that gives them the ability to see what's on my frame.
Correct. It does.
Okay. So I was just wondering if I sent them the email address and they have an Aura account, can they send photos but still not see
I
the
don't
pictures
believe
on
that's an
my
option.
frame?
No, I don't think that's an option. I think
Okay.
if they can send pictures, they can see the pictures on the frames.
Okay.
Can I ask a
Okay.
question?
Sure.
So a lot of us set up frames for our clients. So
Okay.
we're the source of new photos.
Yeah.
So I understand you use the app, which you can use online, right? You don't have to be only from a device like a phone.
No, no, you can do it through a laptop.
So
Yeah.
with the app, then you're logging into each of those clients' Aura accounts, and then you're uploading to that account or frame.
Yes.
Okay.
So the way that you obviously want for security reasons, they don't, I'm sure you're all lovely people, right? But they probably don't want you hanging around on their frame once you've done the work, right? So my recommendation would be that you essentially set it up on their phone, their app, and then you can either use the gift thing to load some pictures up first if you want to do that, because the person who uses the gifting app cannot get any access to the frame. To answer your question, Joy, the person who loads up through the gifting app cannot see the frame, cannot see the pictures, and doesn't have ongoing access. It's a one-time thing. So if you have a number of pictures to kick them off, you could do it that way. Or the other way is that they could essentially invite you to the frame through their phone. You could upload the pictures or help them upload the pictures. and then they can delete you off and take you away, so that once your work's done, that you know, you're not getting
Oh.
updates about the pictures on the frames.
So I have clients that have no interest in having a digital frame app on their phone.
Okay.
Can we bypass that and
Yeah,
just
you can
do
set it up.
all
Yeah,
online?
as long as they're comfortable with you having access to their frame, then yeah, you can do it off your,
Okay.
you know, the
Okay, great.
the privacy control of the frames is that the only people who have access to the pictures on the frame are people who have been invited. But once you've been invited, you're in, right? Then you can manage it for them and all the rest of it.
So I have to
Okay,
set up the frame and invite myself?
Well, you can set the frame up on their phone, and then if you set it up on your phone, you don't need to invite yourself because you're already on, right? You're
But
already
I'm
on.
going to be setting up multiple frames. Can
Right.
so, and my team is going to be setting up frames, so they don't want to use their phones.
Okay.
So
Then
if we
you
can
set it up
buy,
on the then do that. Set it up on the person's phone. They have the app on the phone, but you can stick it away in a corner, you know, one of the files, and never see it again. And as long as they invite you to the frame, then you can do everything from there on.
so you're saying you do have to have the phone app then in order to get going?
Someone has to. Well, you could do it off a laptop too if you wished, but
Okay.
most people do it on a phone. That's the most common
Yeah,
one.
this is just a different audience that I
Right.
maybe is,
Yeah.
you know, like these aren't people sharing photos. They
No.
just want someone else to provide new
Okay.
photos for them.
So
Yeah,
then essentially that's your call. You can either do it through a laptop or you can do it off your phone, whichever
great.
is easiest for you.
That's wonderful. Good. Good news. So I have a customer literally waiting for us to set up a new frame because her other one died and she can hardly stand not having a frame in her kitchen.
They are addictive. They truly are.
I
Once you've
know.
got one, you know.
So thanks for taking me through that. I just wanted to be sure
No
I'm not
problem.
setting her up for
Yeah.
frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julie. Can you verify what the aspect ratio is of the frame once again?
It was on the slide, the that I showed, and I'm not enough of a technical person to know it. They are slightly the two smaller ones, the carvers are slightly different. The aspects of the Aspen and the Walden are exactly the same as on a cell phone. The ones on a carver are slightly different, which means you need to adjust it slightly often when you upload the picture. And obviously, Mary, I'm happy for you to share out the deck, and it's the aspect ratios are there.
Okay.
They're also on the website. You can pick it up from there too.
It looks like it's 16 by 10 for Carver and Carver Matte,
Yeah.
and the Aspen is 4 by 3,
Yes, that's it. Four
and
by
the
three is
Walden
the
is also
standard.
4 by 3.
4x3 is what you see on a cell phone typically. Obviously in a landscape mode. The two carvers are slightly different.
And is there a way to change access or transfer access from one person to another?
Well, again, everybody who's invited to the frame has access to the frame. So it's not as if there's only one person that can get access. Once you're invited to the frame, the person who's been invited has full access.
And can you remove the access?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks so much. I think we've answered all the questions we can today. We really appreciate you coming on and giving us all of this great information. And this is relevant for both our do-it-yourself photo organizers and our photo managers who use this for their businesses. So we really appreciate you doing this, and looking forward to doing it again in the future.
Awesome.
And yeah, really appreciate that.
Thank you, everyone. I hope we answered the questions and gave you a flavor. Like I said, go to the website. I'm happy for Mary to share the deck out. There's nothing secret in there, so you can see that if you wish, which has both our website and also some of the more technical stuff, like exactly how the frames and the ratios and things like that work. So
Yeah, of course. I can include a link in our recording email that you'll be receiving shortly in the next day or so. And yeah, you can feel free to reach out to Richard if you have any additional questions.
awesome.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone.